Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, Senator Brown wants a parliament to review abusive fixed-term employment contracts. Opposition Senator Lambert Brown has called for a review of Jamaica's employment laws, in particular any that addresses the controversial fixed-term contracts which he says are being abused by some employers, including in the lucrative tourism industry. Brown, a veteran trade unionist, made the call in a motion he moved in the Senate on Friday. He pointed out that during recent protests by tourism workers for better terms and conditions, including better wages, the fixed-term contracts were cited as a bone of contention. Brown said the abuse of contract workers by some employers was spread across all sectors. In his motion, he also cited that during the protest by tourism workers, one such term of employment highlighted by such strikes is the precarious repeated fixed-term contracts of employment. Continuing, he said, and whereas such a practice can be abusive and oppressive to workers, not only in the tourism sector, but throughout the other sections of our economy, and whereas our Labor Relations and Industrial Disputes Act promulgated in 1975 provides that an industrial dispute can be over the engagement or non-engagement of a worker, which brings this egregious abuse of the contract worker device into conflict with the spirit and intent of Jamaican labor laws, and whereas the egregious abuse of the contract worker device is at variance with the decent work agenda of the International Labour Organization, and whereas different members of the Senate have from time to time called for action to arrest the spread of the contract work device, which undermines the establishment of good industrial relations practices, be it resolved that this Senate expresses its abhorrence to the abuse of fixed-term contracts by some employers in Jamaica, and be it further resolved that the Senate appoints a select committee to consider and recommend possible legislative approaches to eliminate the abuse of the contract work device as a means of denying workers the full range of employment-related rights and the job security to which they should be legally entitled, and with respect to which they need and deserve effective legal protection. Don't tear us down. Court of Appeal President defends a local appellate court. As the debate continues over which jurisdiction is best suited to become Jamaica's final appellate court, President of the local Court of Appeal, Justice Marva MacDonald Bishop, has defended the role of the court in serving Jamaicans. The Jamaican Court of Appeal will not back off in protecting the rights of the citizens of Jamaica, regardless of color and regardless of how heavy your pocket is. We are here for equal rights and justice, declared MacDonald Bishop during her address at the inaugural Judiciary Day in downtown Kingston last week. She said less than 5 cases per year over a 15-year period headed to the island's final appellate court, which is in the United Kingdom Privy Council. In reality, the Court of Appeal is the highest court of Jamaica. The UK Privy Council is symbolically so, MacDonald Bishop suggested. Tuesday, I counted on the Privy Council's website for the number of cases, and over the 15 years recorded, we have 64 cases going to the Privy Council, and if you do your math, we are talking about less than 5% per year going to the Privy Council. Who then is the highest court for the people of Jamaica? Don't tear us down, MacDonald Bishop stated. She said the appeal court welcomes criticisms from anyone and has stated on its website that it welcomes feedback on its work from the public. In closing her presentation, MacDonald Bishop noted the national conversation on which court should serve as the island's final appellate court. Whatever direction we take, the guiding principle must always be preserving justice and strengthening our democratic institutions, whether they are here in Jamaica or over there overseas, she stated. The opposition People's National Party has been pressing the Jamaica Labour Party government to make the Caribbean Court of Justice the island's final appellate court. However, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahou Fort has insisted that the CCJ is among 3 options that are available for discussion in Phase 2 of the country's constitutional reform process. The other 2 options are retaining the UK-based Privy Council and the creation of the island's own final appellate jurisdiction. But Phase 1 of the constitution reform process appears stalled as its parliamentary opposition has withdrawn from the Joint Select Committee assessing the bill to effectively remove King Charles as the island's head of state and having Jamaica becoming a republic. The opposition's support is imperative to realizing those goals. Sad Mother's Day for mom of slain 9-year-old. As the crowd gathered on Job Lane in Spanish Town, St. Catherine yesterday, the sadness and rage were overwhelming. Residents stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting for answers, their hearts heavy. Even though it was Mother's Day, instead of celebration, the community was wrapped in mourning for 9-year-old Kelsey Cassidy Fergon. Kelsey, described as a bright student of St. John's Primary School, was found dead at her home last Friday. Her partially nude body was reportedly discovered stuffed inside a barrel with bruises to her head and a private area. The accused has been identified as Giovanni Ellis, otherwise called the Coolie Man. Up to press time, the authorities were still trying to locate him. We can't believe it's Mother's Day and we out here comforting a mother who just lost her baby in the worst way. Job Lane have a reputation for rape and murder of an innocent child, one woman muttered, tears in her eyes. Beside her, 2 of Kelsey's little friends came to pay their respects. They ran into the arms of the grieving mother, and the sight broke every heart present. Kelsey's mother sat dazed, unblinking, as residents and ministers offered hugs and whispered condolences. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, a Spanish Town native, addressed the crowd with raw emotion. There are certain crimes that are an assault of the sensibilities of the people, Holness said. The people in this community certainly would not countenance this, and based on your report that there is incredible restraint, I think we should commend the community for supporting the police, acting with restraint, and putting their faith and trust in the police. But even as he commended the calm response of residents, he didn't shy away from raising concerns at Jamaica's justice system. The person who is alleged to have committed a crime is someone who is a repeat offender, someone who is out on bail, Holness revealed. Ellis was previously arrested in connection with the rape of a 12-year-old girl. He was held for nearly 2 years, but never charged and eventually granted bail. The mother of the child who perished pointed out that she had no idea that this man, essentially her neighbor, was out on bail for rape, Holness said. That speaks to certain weaknesses in our criminal justice system. Holness hinted at possible reforms to make Jamaica's sex offenders registry accessible to the public. Lord Adams Thomas, CEO of the Child Protection and the Family Services Agency, confirmed that psychological support is already being deployed. The role of the CPFSA is to ensure that this family is provided with the level of intervention that is needed, be it psychological support, which I'm certain that this family is going to need at this time, she explained. This is a heartrending situation, especially during Child Month. She confirmed that Kelsey's 16-year-old brother, who discovered her body, was severely traumatized. He will definitely need trauma counseling. It's not something where you just have a ready-made treatment plan. Each situation is different, she said. The entire community needs counseling. The school family needs support. This case brings to mind another recent incident in Spanish Town where a child was battered almost beyond recognition. It's too much. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.